Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we're going to be talking about team vitality once again because recently Perkz was streaming and he threw out a very, very big and very, very bold statement. Obviously, in a video I believe yesterday or at least over the past couple of days, I put out a video talking about Vitality making it official that they were going to be benching Selfmade, that they're going to be going with Haru in the jungle for the summer split, but also that they are signing Bo. He's working out some visa issues. They want to get him more comfortable with English and just kind of ease his way into the team because it doesn't even seem like he can get to Europe right now. So in a lot of ways, maybe this will work out for the best. But Vitality was kind of a disaster in the spring split, and they are just making one single change going into the summer. They're blaming it all on Selfmade. Selfmade is the big change that's going to take this team from a 9-9 regular season record and a 5th place finish in the playoffs, I believe, like a 5th or 6th place finish in the regular season, barely made playoffs, but now everything is, going to be magically cured. Now this team's going to qualify for Worlds. That's at least what the coaching staff and the management and everything is telling us. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are not really buying it, but we did get, like I said, this clip from Perkz, and Team Vitality tweeted this out on their own Twitter account, actually, which is kind of interesting. And they said, hey, you heard it here first with the eyes emoji at Perkz and at Haru. So let's see what Perkz has to say.
Haru is really good. People will see. I would go as far as saying he will be the best jungler in the LEC.
So that is obviously a very, very bold statement, a very spicy statement. One, because this is Perkz. This is a very, very well-respected veteran player. This is a guy who has played with and against the best players in the world, just flat out. He has played against insane junglers. He has played with insane junglers, and he's just played with and against insane players, and he, in his own right, at least at his best, is an insane player. He knows what it takes to win at the highest level. He knows what greatness is. Now, just because you're a good player, that doesn't mean you're a good evaluator of talent, and then the argument is always going to be thrown around. Every time I make a video like this, or somebody makes a statement like this, there's always that top comment that's like, actually, Perkz is his teammate, so he has to say good things about him no matter what. And it's like, yes, but that's not necessarily true. Perkz doesn't have to say, hey, I think every single player on my team is going to be the best player in their position in the LEC. Yeah, maybe that's nice for him to say, and maybe he should say that, and maybe he can say that and not mean it or whatever, but that seems kind of weird to me. He could just say, yeah, Haru's really, really good. I think he's going to surprise some people. I think people are sleeping on him a little bit. He doesn't have to be like, yeah, Haru's really good. He's going to be the best in the LEC. And at the same time, it's also funny because obviously Perkz and Jankos are really good friends. Obviously they were, teammates for a long time, and Perkz, taking some shots out there and saying that, hey, Haru's going to be better than you, Jankos. He is going to be potentially the best jungler in the LEC, while also at the same time saying, hey, Haru's really good, and hey, he's better than Selfmade, it seems like also, which is really, really funny. But that does give some hype and excitement to this whole thing, because I know a lot of people are questioning this move. A lot of people are saying, hey, Perkz, you haven't looked so good, the past 3 splits. Why is Selfmade the one getting kicked? And hey, Alfari, you haven't looked so good yourself in the past 3 splits. Yeah, you've been lane dominant, and you have crazy CSD and all that stuff, but are you converting your leads? Or are you a winning player? Or are you just kind of, a drama queen? It is a lot of drama and controversy and stuff following you around, and yet your teammates are always the one getting blamed, but never any fingers are getting pointed at you. And then some people want to blame the bot lane or the coaching staff or whatever. And this is actually something interesting that I found out because, Selfmade was talking about his champ pool and how Mephisto wouldn't let him play the champions he's the best at. And he said, hey, I could literally just carry on Olaf every game, but they won't pick it for me. Kind of interesting that Selfmade was actually 1-0 on Olaf during the regular season and then 2-0 on Olaf in the playoffs. And obviously in the playoffs, he was like 1-5 on other champions and 1-0 on Olaf during the regular season and ended up playing a lot of other champions that he didn't do so well on. So I thought that was at least an interesting note. Maybe the coaching staff's the issue. Maybe the drafts are the issue. Maybe it's Perkz. Maybe it's Alfari. I don't know. But if Perkz is liking what he is seeing out of Haru so far, that is exciting because that could be a big step up. If Perkz and Haru can be a really, really good mid-jungle duo, and if Haru can be a player that's going to fit in with this team to the mid to late game where, the players and the coaching staff and the management has identified as an issue for this team, and again, that was kind of like the rumor that came out that the players and staff wanted Selfmade benched and wanted Selfmade kicked from the team because he didn't agree with them on how to play the mid to late game. He didn't agree with them on how to actually close out games. So even when they could get leads, they weren't able to ever actually win any games. So they think by replacing Selfmade, they'll be able to do that. And Haru's definitely a guy who's, done some winning in his career. This guy is obviously a world champion with an asterisk. Obviously, if you go back and take a look at his world championship, which I believe was 2017 with Samsung Galaxy, you will see that he just played a single game at the 2017 World Championships. He played an Ezreal jungle game where he did win that game. He went 3-1-6, but what has Haru done more recently? Haru, he's been kind of everywhere. He's played on CJ Entus, Samsung Galaxy, KSV, Gen G. Apparently, he's been a sub for SKT. He's played on Hanwha Life. So he's been on all the top Korean organizations. He's been on all these different teams. He's gotten a ton of awesome opportunities. But then he went to Latin America. He played on Kaus Latin Gamers. And then most recently, he played on X7. So how did those stints go? And I thought this was kind of interesting. When you look at how he did in Latin America, in the LLA, on Kaus Latin Gamers, or Chaos, or however you say it, he had a 13% win rate. It seems like he played 8 games in I believe this is a summer split of the LLA. I think his team at least went 1-7 in those games. He had a 1.9 KDA, and this is interesting because obviously League of Legends is a team game. If you're playing on a bad team with bad teammates, it's going to be hard to stand out. It's going to be hard to win games, and you're going to have poor stats. And obviously I didn't watch these games, so I'm not saying he sucked in the LLA or anything like that, but I am saying that Latin America is seen as perhaps the worst region in the world, one of the weaker regions in the world for sure, and Haru did not go over there and absolutely smurf. He was not able to 1v9, he was not able to crazy carry games or anything like that. We also have his stats from the NLC most recently, and in the NLC, this is in the spring split of 2022, he did very, very well. This is the British ERL, or the English ERL, or whatever. He had an 8.1 KDA, he had a 78% win rate with his team X7, and then this took into EU Masters, where his team had a 50% win rate, and he ended up with a 3.2 KDA. So he looked very good in the NLC. His stats weren't that great in Latin America, and his stats were pretty mediocre overall in EU Masters, and I watched some of those EU Masters games. I believe X7 had a couple of games against K-Corp, and obviously I watched a ton of K-Corp throughout the entire spring split, and in those games I wasn't super impressed with Haru. It's just a couple of games, it's a small sample size, but Haru made some nice plays, but I thought he had some weird, crazy engages too. I thought he had a lot of crazy deaths. I remember one game where him and 113 were just kind of going back and forth, inting over and over again. That's a problem that 113 definitely has, and Haru was kind of playing into that, but maybe Haru, that just means he's down to play a fast, aggressive style that might fit in really, really well with players like Perkz and with players like Alfari, but we'll have to wait and see. Ultimately, at the end of the day, do I think Haru right now is probably a better individually skilled player than Selfmade? No, I really don't think that. I think that's kind of hard to believe, but could he potentially be a better fit for this team? Could he be a better mid to late game shot caller or just piece of that team? I know Perkz likes to be a very, very involved kind of micromanager, it sounds like, for a lot of his teams and players. He's had quotes previously that my teams need to play a certain way. I need to play a certain way. So, hey, maybe Haru fits in that better than Selfmade does. Who knows? But when Perkz is going out there and throwing out statements like, hey, this guy might be the best jungler in the LEC, I think that's a pretty bold statement because the LEC has had and has some pretty good junglers. But also, if Haru is going to be the best jungler in the summer split, one, that's going to make a hard decision for Vitality going forward in the future, if they're going to be able to get Bo in there at all. But it's also going to mean that Vitality is going to have a very real possibility of going to Worlds, because if Haru's playing like the best jungler in the LEC, this team's going to be scary and this team's going to be winning some games. Now, is this quote going to age well or not? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this statement from Perkz. Do you think he's just hyping up his new teammate, or do you think there's some legitimacy to this? Do you think Haru has a chance to be one of the best junglers in the LEC, and do you think Vitality might have a chance at making it to Worlds? I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hope to catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.